He found where I'm hiding.
Okay?
Help me,
Mafia
please, I'm so
boss
scared.
gets a late
Where are
night
you?
call
I'm coming now.
as
Hurry,
Trembling
they're coming
Waitress
back.
Cries. The phone rang at 3 a.m. Caspian Graves stared at the unknown number, debated letting it ring. Then he heard her voice, broken, terrified, barely a whisper. He found me. The waitress who'd witnessed his rival's execution 3 months ago. The one he'd relocated. Hidden. Protected. The one he'd sworn would stay safe. Caspian, please, a crash. Screaming. The line went dead. Caspian was already moving, gun in hand, because nobody touched what was his. What he did next would start a war that would burn the city to the ground. Stay until the end, because this story will blow your mind. Before we continue, hit that subscribe button and comment where you're watching from. Trust me, you don't want to miss what happens next. Now let's get into it. Asterisk asterisk. Iris Calloway was wiping down tables when the back door opened. Wrong night, wrong moment, wrong life. She looked up at the sound of voices in the alley. Sharp, angry, the kind that made smart people walk the other direction. But the kitchen trash needed taking out, and her shift ended in 20 minutes, and she was so tired she could barely think straight. 3 jobs, 7 days a week, all to pay off debts her father left behind when his gambling habit finally caught up to him. $53,000 to loan sharks who didn't care that he was dead. They wanted their money, and Iris was all that was left. The Velvet Rose Diner was her Thursday through Saturday night shift, 11 p.m. to 7 a.m. Truckers, insomniacs, people who didn't want to be seen in daylight. Tips were decent if you smiled through the exhaustion and didn't ask questions about the bloodstains some customers came in wearing. Iris grabbed the trash bag, pushed through the back door into the alley. Stopped dead. For men. 3 standing, 1 on his knees. The kneeling man was crying, begging, hands tied behind his back. The man standing over him held a gun to his head, speaking in a voice so cold it made the autumn air feel warm. You stole from me, Petey. Thought I wouldn't notice. Silas, please, I can explain. I don't want explanations. I want examples. The gunshot cracked through the night. Iris's scream died in her throat. The trash bag hit the ground. She stumbled backward, shoulder slamming into the doorframe. The man with the gun, Silas, turned. Their eyes locked through the kitchen window. 3 seconds that changed everything. Iris ran, burst back through the kitchen, past the line cook who shouted something she didn't hear, through the dining room where 2 customers looked up in confusion. She didn't stop. Couldn't stop. Her hand shook so badly she could barely grip her keys. The parking lot. Her car. Ancient Honda that barely started on good days. She fumbled the keys, dropped them, grabbed them, got the door open. Engine turned over. Thank God. She peeled out of the lot, tires screaming, and drove. No destination. Just away. Her phone rang 10 minutes later. Unknown number. She let it ring. It rang again. And again. On the 4th call, she answered. Hello. Iris Calloway. 26 years old. Lives at 847 Morrison Street, apartment 3B. Works 3 jobs to pay off her dead father's debts. The voice was male, cultured, dangerous. Should I continue? Her blood turned to ice. Who is this? Someone who knows you witnessed something tonight. Something that's going to make your very short life very complicated. I didn't see anything. Don't insult us both with lies. A pause. Silas Korr doesn't leave witnesses breathing. You have maybe 48 hours before his people find you. So here's what's going to happen. You're going to drive to the Grand Oak Hotel downtown. Room 847. You're going to do it right now. And you're going to pray I get to you before he does. Why would I trust you? Because I'm the only chance you have of seeing sunrise. The line went dead. Iris pulled over, hands shaking, stomach churning. She could run, disappear, change her name, leave the state. With what money? What resources? She had $800 in her account and a car that needed new brakes. Her phone buzzed. A text from the same unknown number. A photo. Silas Korr standing over that man's body, gun in hand. And another photo, her apartment building. Taken tonight. Recently. The message below. He already knows where you live. Clock's ticking. Iris drove to the Grand Oak. The hotel was expensive. The kind where doormen wore white gloves and looked at her beat-up Honda like it was contaminating their parking lot. She walked through the lobby in her waitress uniform, past people in designer clothes who didn't even see her. 8th floor, room 847. She knocked. The door opened immediately. The man standing there was nothing like she expected. Tall, dark hair, sharp suit that probably cost more than her car. Young, maybe 35. Cold eyes that swept over her in 3 seconds and cataloged everything. You came. Smart. Who are you? Caspian Graves. He stepped aside. Come in before someone sees you. The suite was massive. Floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking the city. Furniture that looked like it belonged in a museum. And 3 other men in suits, all watching her like she was a problem to solve. Sit. Caspian gestured to a chair. Iris stayed standing. Why am I here? You witnessed Silas Korr execute P.D. Carmichael tonight. That makes you a liability to him and a potential asset to me. I'm not testifying. I'm not going to the police. I just want to forget this happened. Too late for that. Caspian poured himself a drink. Didn't offer her one. Korr owns half the police force. You go to them, they'll deliver you to him gift-wrapped. You run, he'll find you in 3 days. You hide, he'll find you in 5. You're a loose end, and Silas doesn't leave loose ends dangling. Iris's legs finally gave out. She sank into the chair. So I'm dead. Not necessarily. Caspian sat across from her. I could protect you. Relocate you. Give you a new identity, new city, new life. But you do exactly what I say, when I say it, no questions. And in exchange, you disappear. Completely. Forever. You don't contact family. Don't use your real name. Don't slip up. And if I need you to testify against Korr someday, you do it. Iris laughed. It came out bitter. So I trade one prison for another. You trade death for life. I'd call that an upgrade. She looked at him. Really looked. He was dangerous. Everything about him screamed it. But he was also offering her the only way out of this nightmare. Why are you helping me? I'm not helping you. I'm using you. Korr killed someone under my protection tonight. That's a message. A challenge. You're my response. You're proof I can keep what's mine safe. His eyes were ice. You're not charity. You're strategy. Brutal honesty. Somehow that made it easier to trust him. What happens if I say no? I walk out that door, and you're on your own. Give you 48 hours before Korr's people find you. Maybe less. Iris thought about her grandmother in the nursing home. The 3 jobs. The endless debt. The life she'd been grinding herself into dust trying to maintain. I have debts. People I owe money to. Give me the details. I'll handle it. Just like that. Just like that. Consider it relocation expenses. I need to say goodbye to... No. Caspian's voice cut like a blade. No goodbyes. No last visits. No trails for Korr to follow. You're already dead, Iris Calloway. Tonight, you become someone else. She felt tears burning, but refused to let them fall. When? Now. We leave in 10 minutes. One of the suited men stepped forward with a folder. New documents. New identity. Your Ivy Cross. Born in Ohio. Moved around a lot. No family. No close friends. Simple. Clean. Boring. Iris, Ivy, took the folder with shaking hands. Driver's license with her photo, but a stranger's name. Social security card. Birth certificate. A whole life fabricated in hours. There's a town 3 hours north. Seabrook. Coastal. Quiet. Population under 5,000. Caspian stood. I own a building there. Bookstore on the ground floor, apartment above it. You'll work the store. Live upstairs. Keep your head down. For how long? Until Korr is dead, where you are. Whichever comes first. Comfort wasn't his priority. Truth was. The drive north was silent. Caspian drove himself. No driver. No guards. Just them. Iris watched the city disappear in the rearview mirror and felt like she was watching her own funeral. You ever kill anyone? The question came out before she could stop it. Caspian glanced at her. Yes. How many? Enough to know it doesn't get easier. Just necessary. Does that make it right? No. Just survivable. They arrived in Seabrook at dawn. The town was exactly as promised. Small, quiet, the kind of place where everyone knew everyone and strangers stood out. The bookstore sat on Main Street between a coffee shop and a hardware store. Faded sign reading chapter and verse. Caspian unlocked the door, led her upstairs. The apartment was small but clean. Furnished. Stocked kitchen. Clothes in a closet that looked about her size. You planned all this before I even agreed. I knew you'd agree. You're smart enough to choose life over pride. He handed her a phone. Burner. My number's programmed. You call if anything feels wrong. Anything. Strange car. Unfamiliar face. Gut feeling that won't quit. You call immediately. And if it's nothing, then I wasted a drive. I'll survive. Iris took the phone. Why are you really doing this? Caspian studied her for a long moment. Because Silas Korr thinks he can take what's mine and walk away. You're proof he can't. That's all you need to know. He turned to leave. Caspian. He stopped at the door. Thank you. His expression didn't change. Don't thank me yet. You might not survive long enough to mean it. Then he was gone. Iris stood alone in her new life, holding a phone connected to a killer, wearing a dead woman's name, and wondered if she'd just made the biggest mistake of her existence. 3 months passed like a hell breath. Ivy Cross worked at chapter and verse 6 days a week, smiled at customers, recommended books, made small talk about the weather, built a life that felt like playing pretend. She made casual friends. The barista next door, Fiona, who brought her coffee every morning. The owner of the hardware store, old Mr. Pemberton, who fixed her stuck window without being asked. The regular customers who learned her name and asked about her day. She kept them all at arm's length. Never revealed too much. Never got too close. Because Iris Calloway had friends, had family, had connections. Ivy Cross had nothing but the present moment. And she thought about Caspian more than she should. The way he'd looked at her before leaving that first morning, like he was memorizing her face. Like maybe she mattered more than he wanted to admit. She told herself she was imagining it, creating fantasy from desperation. He was a killer. She was a witness under protection. That was all. But sometimes late at night, she'd stare at the burner phone and wonder if he ever thought about checking on her. Then came the night, everything shattered. Iris was closing the bookstore at 11 p.m. Late inventory. She locked the front door, turned off most of the lights, was heading for the back exit when she saw it. Black SUV parked across the street. Engine running. Tinted windows. Her heart stuttered. She'd seen that vehicle before. 3 days ago. Different spot, same car. And yesterday. And this morning. Paranoia? Or instinct? She locked up quickly, ran upstairs to her apartment. Looked out the window. The SUV was still there. Still running. Like it was waiting. Her phone buzzed. Unknown number. Text message. Found you, little bird. The words Silas Korr had said in that alley. The last thing P.D. Carmichael heard before he died. Iris grabbed the burner phone with shaking hands. Dialed the only number programmed. It rang once. Twice. 3 times. Her apartment door rattled. Someone picking the lock. 4 rings. The lock clicked open. 5 rings. The door burst open. Hello. Caspian's voice, rough with sleep. He found me. Iris barely recognized her own voice. Whispered. Terrified. Broken. Where are you? The apartment. They're inside. I can hear. A man's silhouette in her doorway. Then another. Iris screamed. Dropped the phone. Ran. Caspian was already moving before the scream finished echoing through the phone. Rhett. His second-in-command appeared in the doorway instantly. Get everyone. Seabrook. Now. What's in Seabrook? Something that belongs to me that Korr just made the mistake of touching. Caspian was grabbing keys, jacket, gun. I want every available man there in under 2 hours. Boss, that's... I don't care if you have to fly. Make it happen. He was in his car before Rhett could respond. 3-hour drive. He'd make it in 90 minutes if he didn't hit cops. And even if he did, they'd have to catch him first. His phone rang. Rhett. 4 cars. 12 men. ETA 1 hour 40. Not good enough. It's what we've got. What's going on? Korr found her. Silence on the other end. Then, the witness? I thought she was Ghost Protocol. Someone talked. And when I find out who, they'll wish Korr got to them first. Caspian hung up. Pushed the accelerator harder. The speedometer climbed past 90, then 100. Every second was distance. Every distance was danger. The image of Iris's face that last morning kept flashing through his mind. The way she looked so small standing in that apartment. The way she'd said thank you like she actually believed he was saving her instead of using her. 3 months. He'd told himself it was surveillance. Security. Making sure his investment stayed protected. That's why he'd driven to Seabrook every week. Parked down the street. Watched her close the bookstore. Saw her laugh with the barista. Witnessed her building a life. Told himself it meant nothing. Lied to himself for 3 solid months. Iris ran through her apartment. The 2 men right behind her. She grabbed the lamp, threw it. Missed. Grabbed books, anything within reach. One enforcer caught her arm. Twisted. She screamed, bit his hand. Tasted blood. Little fighter. He laughed. Slammed her against the wall. Boss wants you alive. Didn't say you had to be pretty. Stars exploded behind Iris's eyes. She kicked backward, connected with something. The grip loosened. She lunged for the window, shattered it with a chair. Glass exploded outward. Help! She screamed into the night. Someone help me. Lights came on in the building next door. Mrs. Hadley, the elderly neighbor who brought her cookies, appeared in her window. Call 911. Iris shouted before hands grabbed her hair, yanked her back. Stupid move. The second enforcer's fist connected with her ribs. Air rushed out of her lungs. Now we have to move fast. They dragged her toward the door. Iris clawed at the door frame, the walls, anything. Her fingers left bloody streaks on the paint. Downstairs, she could hear sirens. Small town. The police station was 3 blocks away. The enforcers heard it too. Cursed. Moved faster. They hauled her down the stairs. Iris fought every step. 2 police officers burst through the front door just as the enforcers hit the bottom landing. Freeze. The enforcers didn't hesitate. One pulled a badge from his jacket. Federal looking. Official looking. Fake as hell, but small-town cops wouldn't know that. FBI. Federal witness. We're transporting her to protective custody. The older officer lowered his gun slightly. Nobody called us about a federal transport. Classified operation. Need to know basis. I need to verify. Call your supervisor. We'll wait. But the enforcer's hand tightened on Iris's arm. Message clear. They weren't waiting for anything. Iris saw her chance. One shot at this. They're lying. Her voice came out raw, desperate. They're going to kill me. Please. The younger officer's hand moved back to his weapon. Ma'am, are you in danger? Yes. Please. They're not FBI there. The enforcer's hand clamped over her mouth. Too aggressive. Too violent. The officers saw it. Sir, I'm going to need you to release her while we verify. We don't have time for this. The enforcers were moving, dragging Iris toward the door. The officers drew weapons. Stop right there. Iris made her choice. Bit down hard on the hand, covering her mouth. Drew blood. The enforcer yelled, grip loosening. She twisted, broke free, ran. Not toward the officers. Toward the street. Toward anywhere that wasn't here. Behind her, chaos erupted. Shouting. Gunshots. She didn't look back. Couldn't look back. Her bare feet hit pavement. She'd lost her shoes in the fight upstairs. Blood from a dozen cuts made her slip on the sidewalk. She caught herself, kept running. The enforcers burst out behind her. Faster. Trained. The officers were calling for backup, but Seabrook didn't have backup. 2 officers on duty, and one was probably already down. Iris ran through the sleeping town. Past the coffee shop where Fiona made her lattes. Past the hardware store where Mr. Pemberton told stories about his Navy days. Past the life she'd built from lies and desperation. An alley. Dark. Narrow. She ducked into it, pressed against the wall, tried to breathe quietly through her panic. Footsteps. Getting closer. Come out, little bird. It's over. Both enforcers appeared at the alley entrance. Blocking escape. Guns drawn now. No more pretending. Iris backed up until she hit the far wall. Nowhere left to go. Korr's going to make you wish you'd never seen his face. The enforcer stepped forward. He's creative like that. Take his time. Iris closed her eyes. This was it. 3 months of borrowed time, finally running out. Sorry, Caspian, she whispered. I tried. The gunshot made her flinch. But no pain came. She opened her eyes. The enforcer in front was on the ground. Hole in his head. Dead before he fell. The second one was turning, bringing his gun up, but another shot cracked through the night. center mass. Then another. He dropped. Caspian stepped into the alley. He looked like death itself. Dark clothes. Gun raised. Eyes absolutely feral. You okay? His voice was steady despite the murder in his expression. Iris stared at him. At the bodies. At the man who just killed 2 people like it was breathing. You came. Did you think I wouldn't? Her legs gave out. He caught her before she hit the ground. And then she was sobbing. 3 months of fear and loneliness and pretending everything was fine finally breaking loose. Caspian held her. One arm tight around her back, the other still holding his gun, scanning the alley for more threats. I've got you. His voice was different now. Softer. Nobody's touching you again. How did you get here so fast? Broke every traffic law between here and the city. Rhett's 20 minutes out with cleanup. Iris pulled back enough to look at him. Blood on her face from a split lip. Bruises already forming. Hair wild. They said Korr put a bounty on me. I know. I'll handle it. Ow. However I have to. Headlights flooded the alley. Iris tensed, but Caspian's arm tightened around her. It's mine. 4 black SUVs pulled up. Armed men poured out. Professional. Efficient. Red appeared, took in the scene. 2 down here. Probably 1 or 2 more in town. Caspian's voice was all business now. Clean it. Find the officers. If they're alive, make sure they forget everything they saw tonight. If they're dead, make it look like the FBI really was here and things went wrong. The witness. Comes with me. Boss, protocol says. I don't give a damn what protocol says. She's coming with me. Anyone has a problem with that, they could discuss it with me directly. Nobody had a problem with it. Rhett snapped orders. Men moved. The bodies were already being loaded into a vehicle. Evidence disappearing. Small-town cops wouldn't stand a chance against this level of efficiency. Caspian guided Iris to his car. She moved like she was in shock. Probably was. He opened the passenger door. She climbed in, still shaking. He got on the driver's side, started the engine. Where are we going? Somewhere Korr will never think to look. Where? Caspian's jaw tightened. Home. With me. The drive was mostly silent. Caspian made 3 phone calls. Iris caught fragments. Security doubled. Find the leak. Want answers by morning. Then to someone else. Doctor. My place. 1 hour. Discreet. Bring everything. He hung up. Glanced at her. You hurt. I don't know. Everything hurts. Doctor will check you over when we get there. I'm fine. You're not fine. You're in shock, and you're bleeding, and you're going to let the doctor examine you without argument. It wasn't a request. Iris looked out the window. Watched the landscape blur past. How did they find me? Someone in my organization talked. Gave Korr your location. Who? Still figuring that out. But when I do, he didn't finish. Didn't need to. This is my fault. If I hadn't been in that alley. If you hadn't been in that alley, Korr still would have killed Petey. This isn't on you. It's on him. And the traitor who sold you out. And me for not protecting you better. You got there in time. Barely. The weight in that word made Iris look at him. Really look. His hands gripped the steering wheel too tight. Jaw clenched. Eyes straight ahead, but she could see something churning beneath the surface. Thank you. For coming. 4. Don't thank me. I should have seen this coming. Should have rotated your location. Should have. He stopped. You almost died because I got complacent. I'm alive because you didn't. They pulled through massive iron gates. The estate beyond was fortress-like. Guards everywhere. Walls. Cameras. The kind of security that said nobody got in without permission. The house itself was enormous. Not showy, just powerful. Old money and older violence. Caspian parked, came around to her door. Helped her out like she was made of glass. A doctor was already waiting inside. Older woman. Professional. She took one look at Iris and gestured to her room. Let's get you cleaned up. Iris looked at Caspian. He nodded. I'll be right outside. The examination took 30 minutes. Cuts cleaned. Bruises documented. Ribs x-rayed. Nothing broken, but everything hurt. You're lucky, the doctor said while bandaging her hands. Could have been much worse. Doesn't feel lucky. Being alive is always lucky, dear. The doctor left. Caspian came in. He'd changed clothes. No more blood. But he looked just as dangerous clean. Verdict. Bruised. Battered. But intact. Iris tried to smile. Failed. I'll survive. You'll do more than survive. He helped her to her feet. Come on. You need rest. He led her through the mansion to a guest room. Massive bed. Private bathroom. Windows that looked out over grounds that seemed to stretch forever. There's clothes in the closet. Should fit. Shower if you want. Food if you're hungry. He moved toward the door. Wait. He stopped. Are you leaving? Just to the hallway. I'll be close. How close? Caspian turned to look at her. Something passed between them. Unspoken. Dangerous. As close as you need me to be. Iris should have said she was fine. Should have sent him away. Should have maintained the distance that kept this professional. Instead, she heard herself say, stay. Please. I don't want to be alone right now. He studied her for a long moment. Then nodded. I'll sit outside your door. That's not what I meant. I know what you meant. But you're in shock and you're scared and you're not thinking clearly. I'm thinking perfectly clearly. For the first time in 3 months, actually. She stepped closer. You came for me. You killed for me. You're bringing a war to your doorstep because of me. I'm bringing a war because Korr crossed a line. Stop lying to yourself. Her voice was quiet but steady. Whatever this is between us, it's not just strategy anymore. You feel it too. Caspian's expression cracked. Just for a second. But she saw it. Get some rest, Iris. He left before she could respond. Iris stood alone in the guest room, wrapped in bandages and borrowed clothes, and wondered when exactly she'd stopped being a witness under protection and started being something he couldn't afford to lose. She showered, changed into the silk pajamas someone had left on the bed, crawled under covers that probably cost more than her old car. Couldn't sleep. At 4 a.m., she gave up, walked to the door, opened it. Caspian was there, sitting in a chair outside her room, laptop open, gun on the table beside him. He looked up when her door opened. Can't sleep. Too much adrenaline. You don't sleep much anyway. They stared at each other. This is stupid, Iris finally said. You sitting out here. Me in there. Both of us pretending this is normal. What would you suggest? Honesty. For once. Caspian closed his laptop. Stood. You want honesty? Fine. Well, I got that call and heard you screaming. Something in me broke. Driving up here, I would have killed every person between me and you without hesitation. That's not protection. That's not strategy. He stopped. What? Dangerous. For both of us. Iris stepped closer. I've been in danger since the moment I saw Korr pull that trigger. At least this danger feels like a choice. You don't know what you're choosing. Then show me. Caspian's control finally shattered. He closed the distance between them, cupped her face, kissed her like she was oxygen and he was drowning. Iris kissed him back. 3 months of tension and fear and loneliness exploding into this moment. When they broke apart, both breathing hard, Caspian pressed his forehead to hers. This changes everything. I know. Korr will use this against us. I know. You could still walk away. Disappear. I'd help you. I'm done running. Iris pulled him closer. Whatever happens next, we face it together. Caspian kissed her again. Slower this time. Like memorizing. Like promise. Then he picked her up, carried her back into the room, kicked the door shut behind them. Outside the estate walls, dawn was breaking. Inside, two people who should never have met, should never have mattered to each other, chose danger over distance. And somewhere across the city, Silas Korr was making plans that would bring everything crashing down. Morning came with explosions. Iris woke to Caspian already moving, grabbing his gun from the nightstand, pulling on clothes with military efficiency. Stay here. His voice was cold. Professional. The man from last night replaced by the killer she'd first met. What's happening? Korr's attacking. He knows you're here. More explosions. Closer now. Gunfire erupting like fireworks. Caspian was at the door, then stopped. Came back. Kissed her hard. There's a panic room. 3rd door on the left. Reinforced steel. Supplies for 3 days. Get in there. Lock it. Don't open it for anyone but me. Caspian. Do it. Now. He disappeared into the chaos. Iris ran. Found the door. Heavy. Seamless. Inside was a small room with water, food, medical supplies, weapons. A monitor showed multiple camera feeds of the estate. She watched the battle unfold in real time. Korr's men everywhere. Coordinated. Professional. This wasn't a raid. This was an invasion. Caspian and Rhett led the defense from the main hall. Their men returned fire from strategic positions. Bodies falling on both sides. The estate turning into a war zone. On one camera feed, she saw 3 of Korr's enforcers break through the west entrance, heading toward the residential wing. Toward her, Iris watched them move through hallways, checking rooms, hunting. They were looking for her specifically, following some kind of intel. Her panic room wasn't on any blueprints. Caspian had told her that. Secret. Safe. But they were getting closer. She realized with sickening clarity. If she stayed hidden, Caspian's people would die protecting an empty room. They didn't know she was already safe. They'd think she was somewhere in the residential wing needing rescue. Men were dying because of her. Again, Iris looked at the guns mounted on the wall. She'd never fired one, never even held one properly. But she was done being the helpless witness. She grabbed the smallest pistol, checked it like she'd seen in movies. Safety off, finger off the trigger until ready. That was the extent of her knowledge. Then she opened the panic room door and stepped into the war. The hallway was empty. Gunfire echoed from other parts of the estate. She moved toward the sounds, heart hammering, every instinct screaming to run the other direction. She found them in the library. 3 enforcers, heavily armed, tearing through the room. Where is she? Boss wants her alive. He's got special plans. Check upstairs. Iris stepped into the doorway. Looking for me? All 3 spun. Guns raised. She raised hers too. Hands shaking. Probably pointing it wrong. Definitely about to die. There you are, little bird. My name is Iris. Her voice steadier than her hands. And I'm done running. She pulled the trigger. Missed by 3 feet. The recoil nearly broke her wrist. But it bought her 2 seconds. Caspian appeared behind the enforcers like a ghost. 3 shots. 3 bodies. Precise. Lethal. Over in heartbeats. Then he was on her, grabbing her shoulders, fury in his eyes. What the hell were you thinking? I was thinking they were dying because of me. I wasn't going to hide while. You could have been killed. So could you. And I couldn't just sit there. He grabbed her face, kissed her desperately. Don't ever do that again. Can't promise that. Despite everything, the gunfire, the bodies, the war, he almost smiled. You're going to be the death of me. Plan to keep you alive long enough to make that difficult. Rhett's voice crackled through Caspian's earpiece. Iris heard it too. They were that close. Boss, we got one alive. He's talking. Says he knows where Korr is. Caspian's expression went predatory. I'm coming. He started to leave. Iris grabbed his arm. I'm coming with you. Absolutely not. I'm the reason this started. I'm going to be there when it ends. Iris, you can argue or you can move. But I'm not staying behind again. Their eyes locked. Battle of wills. Finally, Caspian nodded. Stay behind me. Always. You don't move unless I say. You don't shoot unless I tell you. Understand? Yes. And Iris? If I tell you to run, you run. No arguments. No heroics. Okay. He knew she was lying. She knew he knew. They moved anyway. The battle was ending. Korr's men dead or retreating. Caspian's forces securing the perimeter. The estate looked like a battlefield. Broken windows. Bullet holes. Blood. They found the captured enforcer in the basement. Tied to a chair. Already beaten. Rhett standing over him with cold efficiency. Tell him what you told me. The enforcer spit blood. Korr's at Ironside warehouse. Planning his next move. Think you're pinned down here, licking wounds. Caspian studied him. How many men? 20. Maybe 30. When? Now. Tonight. He's regrouping for another push tomorrow. Caspian looked at Rhett. He thinks we're defensive. Thinks he has momentum. Perfect time to remind him he doesn't. Get everyone combat ready. We move in 1 hour. Rhett nodded, started to leave, then stopped. Boss, bringing her is not up for discussion. After Rhett left, the enforcer laughed. Wet. Painful. You're bringing her? Korr's gonna love that. Delivering exactly what he wants. Caspian's gun was out, pressed under the man's chin, before Iris could blink. You already gave me what I needed. Your value just expired. The gunshot made Iris flinch, but she didn't look away. Caspian turned to her. Last chance. You can stay here. Be safe. Nobody would blame you. I'm coming. This ends bloody. You understand that. I understand perfectly. 60 minutes later, they were rolling toward Ironside in a convoy of vehicles. 12 men, heavily armed, prepared for war. Iris sat beside Caspian in the lead vehicle. He'd given her a vest, better gun, quick lesson in not shooting herself. You point. You squeeze. You don't close your eyes. Simple. Simple, she repeated. Nothing about this was simple. They hit Ironside fast. Tactical. Overwhelming force. Korr's men were caught off guard, expecting defense, getting offense. The warehouse erupted in gunfire. Caspian moved through it like death incarnate. Iris stayed close, exactly like he'd ordered. Watch him work. Efficient. Brutal. Necessary. They pushed toward the main office, where Korr would be. The door was reinforced. Caspian kicked it open anyway. Silas Korr sat behind a desk, gun drawn, smiling. Brought her to me. How thoughtful. This ends tonight, Silas. Does it? Or did you just deliver exactly what I wanted? Korr's gun aimed at Iris. Everything slowed. Caspian moved to block her. Korr's finger tightened on the trigger, and Iris made a choice. She stepped forward, not back, past Caspian's protective stance, directly into Korr's line of fire. 3 months ago, I was terrified of you. I ran. I hid. Became someone else because the thought of facing you was unbearable. Brave words from a dead woman. Maybe, but you taught me something. You taught me that fear makes you small, makes you easy to control. She took another step. I'm not small anymore. You're still going to die. Probably. But you'll have to look me in the eyes when you do it. Can you? Can you pull that trigger while I'm standing here reminding you that I'm a person, not just a loose end? Korr's hand wavered. Just slightly. I saw you kill Petey Carmichael. I watched you execute a man begging for his life. But I also saw something else. You hesitated. For just a second before you pulled the trigger, you hesitated. You're wrong. Am I? Or are you trying to convince yourself you're the monster everyone thinks you are? Iris. Caspian's voice held warning. But she couldn't stop now. Pull the trigger, Silas. Prove you're exactly what everyone says. Or don't. And prove there's still something human left. Korr stared at her. Gun raised. Finger on the trigger. The moment stretched like elastic. Then Caspian moved. Single shot. Clean. Final. Silas Korr dropped. The gun clattered from his hand. Silence crashed down. Iris stood frozen. She'd gambled and lost. Or won. She couldn't tell which. Caspian pulled her against him. Don't ever do that again. You keep saying that. You keep not listening. He hesitated. Did you see it? I saw you almost die. Again. That's what I saw. Red appeared in the doorway. Warehouse is clear. Korr's lieutenants are surrendering. It's over. Over. 3 months of running. Of hiding. Of fear. Over. Iris looked at Korr's body. Felt nothing. No guilt. No triumph. Just exhaustion. What happens now? Caspian holstered his gun. Now we go home. Together. And we figure out what comes next. Together. If you'll have me. Iris laughed. It came out slightly hysterical. You're asking? After everything. I'm asking. She kissed him, standing over the body of the man who'd hunted her, in a warehouse that smelled like gunpowder and death. She kissed him like it was a promise. Yes. Obviously yes. They walked out of Ironside together. The war was over, but their story was just beginning. 6 months later, Iris stood behind the counter of her bookstore. Not the one in Seabrook. Not the one above someone else's apartment. This one was hers. Truly hers. Chapter and verse, City Edition, the sign read. Prom location. Floor-to-ceiling windows. Hardwood floors. The smell of new books and possibility. Caspian's money. Her dream. Their compromise. The bell above the door chimed. We're closing in 10. Iris looked up. Smiled. Never mind. We're open for you. Caspian walked in carrying takeout bags and flowers. Brought dinner. And these. She came around the counter, took the flowers, kissed him. You spoil me. Someone has to. You work too hard, says the man who runs an empire. Ran. I'm mostly legitimate now. Boring investments. Property development. Legal activities. Mostly. He grinned. Mostly. They ate at the reading nook she'd set up in the back. Talked about their days. Normal couple things. Except one of them used to be a witness in hiding, and the other still carried a gun everywhere. Fiona called, Iris said between bites. From Seabrook. Asked if I'm ever coming back to visit. Are you? Maybe. It was my home for 3 months. Fake home, but still. We could go this weekend. Stay at that bed and breakfast you liked. The one with the ocean view? That's the one. Iris studied him. 6 months since Korr died. 6 months of learning how to be normal. Or their version of it. Any regrets? She asked. About this. Us. Choosing legitimacy over. She waved her hand vaguely. The life. Caspian set down his food. Not even one. I spent 35 years doing what my father built me for. Being what everyone expected. Then you walked into my world and reminded me I could choose differently. I didn't do anything special. You survived. Against everything. That's pretty special. A customer knocked on the window. Pointed at the closed sign. Iris waved apologetically. After they finished eating, they cleaned up together. Iris locked the front door, turned off most lights. Started the closing routine. You know what I realized today? She said, straightening a shelf. What? I haven't thought about being scared in weeks. Not really scared. Not the kind that makes you check over your shoulder constantly. Good. Is it weird that I almost miss it? The adrenaline? Caspian laughed. You want danger back in your life? No. But sometimes boring feels strange after everything. I can arrange some excitement if you're really desperate. What kind of excitement? He pulled a small box from his jacket pocket, set on the counter between them. Iris stared at it. Caspian, before you panic, it's not a demand. It's a question. One you can answer however you want. She opened the box with shaking hands. The ring inside was simple, elegant. A single diamond that caught the bookstore's dim lighting. We already did the whole forced marriage thing once, Caspian said. Figured this time we could try it properly. With choice. With love. With. Iris kissed him. Hard. The box nearly dropped. When she pulled back, she was crying. Yes. Obviously yes. Did you really think I'd say anything else? Wanted to give you the option. I chose you 6 months ago. In that warehouse. Covered in blood and trauma. I chose you then. I'm choosing you now. I'll choose you tomorrow. He slipped the ring on her finger. Perfect fit. Of course it was. Mrs. Graves, he said, testing the name. Not yet. But soon. They stayed in the bookstore until midnight. Talking. Planning. Laughing about how insane their story was. How no one would believe it if they wrote it down. Finally, they locked up. Walked to the car parked out front. Your place or mine? Iris asked. Ours, Caspian corrected. The apartment above the store. Remember? She'd insisted on keeping the apartment. Having her own space. Her own independence. Caspian had insisted on moving in with her instead of making her live at his estate. Compromise. The apartment was small compared to his mansion. But it was theirs. Books everywhere. Coffee maker that actually worked. Windows that overlooked the street where real life happened. That night, wrapped in sheets that smelled like them, Iris traced the scar on Caspian's shoulder. Think we'll ever have normal? Define normal. Boring. Predictable. Safe. He caught her hand. Kissed her palm. Not a chance. Good. Normal's overrated anyway. Besides, we have our own version of normal now. What's that? You. Me. Books. Legitimate business. Only occasional life-threatening situations. Iris laughed. That's your definition of normal? It's ours. That's what matters. She fell asleep thinking about how 3 months ago she was Ivy Cross, hiding in a small town, terrified of shadows. Now she was Iris Calloway soon-to-be Graves, sleeping next to a reformed Mafia boss, planning a future that included white picket fences and background checks. Life was strange. 1 year later, the wedding was small, private, nothing like the forced ceremony she'd been dragged to before. Just them. Rhett as best man. Fiona from Seabrook as maid of honor. A handful of people who actually mattered. They got married in the bookstore, surrounded by stories, by possibility, by everything they'd built together. The officiant asked if anyone objected. Silence. Asked if they took each other. I do, Caspian said without hesitation. I do. Iris echoed, meaning every syllable. The kiss was real this time. No cameras. No performance. Just them. The reception was in the apartment upstairs. Catered food. Good wine. Laughter that echoed through rooms that had become home. Rhett pulled Caspian aside at one point. Never thought I'd see you here. Where? Happy. Legitimate. In love. Rhett shook his head. She changed everything. Yeah, she did. Worth it. Caspian looked at Iris across the room. She was laughing with Fiona, ring catching light, completely herself. Every single second. Later, after everyone left, they stood on the small balcony overlooking the street. Mrs. Graves, Caspian said, pulling her close. Getting used to that. Any regrets? About marrying you? Not one. About everything else? The violence. The fear. Almost dying multiple times. Iris thought about it. Really thought about it. No. Because all of it led here. To this moment. To us. That's insane. We're insane. It works. They watched the city below. People living their lives. Normal people with normal problems. Think anyone down there has a story like ours? Iris asked. God, I hope not. One of us is enough. She laughed. Leaned into him. Safe. Loved. Chosen. 2 years after that night, in the alley. After the gunshot. After everything changed. Iris opened a second bookstore location. Then a third. Built an empire of her own. Legal. Profitable. Good. Caspian consulted for businesses. Helped them with security concerns. Mostly legitimate. Occasionally not. But always careful. They built a life. Bought a house. Not a mansion. Just a home. Big enough for the family they were talking about starting. Small enough to feel real. Had dinner parties. With normal people. Who asked normal questions. Who had no idea about the bodies buried in their past. And sometimes, late at night, when Iris couldn't sleep, she'd think about that terrified waitress in the alley. The one who witnessed something she shouldn't have. The one who ran. Who hid. Who became someone else to survive. That woman was gone now. Replaced by someone stronger. Braver. Someone who'd faced death and chosen life. Who'd found love in the impossible space between violence and peace. You awake. Caspian's voice in the darkness. Yeah. Thinking about how far we've come. You pulled her closer. Long way from that first night. You threatened me. You annoyed me. And now you're everything. Iris smiled in the dark. You've gotten soft. Only for you. They fell asleep tangled together. Two people who shouldn't have survived. Shouldn't have found each other. Shouldn't have worked. But did anyway. Because sometimes the worst moments create the best outcomes. Sometimes running toward danger with the right person is braver than hiding alone. Sometimes the monster turns out to be the man who saves you. And sometimes the witness becomes the wife, becomes the woman who changes everything. Iris Calloway Graves woke up the next morning in her own bed, in her own house, next to the man she chose, living the life she built, and realized she'd finally stopped running. Not because the danger was gone, but because she was strong enough to face whatever came next. And that made all the difference. If this story moved you, hit that subscribe button right now. Drop a comment telling us what moment hit you hardest. And share this with someone who needs to hear that sometimes the worst beginning leads to the best ending. Because stories like Iris's, they remind us that we're stronger than we think. That love finds us in the strangest places. That running toward danger with the right person is braver than hiding alone. That the cages we're forced into don't have to be the prisons we die in. Thanks for watching. We'll see you in the next one.